Corwin. I'm very excited for today's special guest, a very good friend of mine, and the person that actually wrangles all of us saltwater fishing instructors together, and a very big instrument in putting forth the programs that the state of South Carolina offers. I'd like to welcome back to the show, Miss Pam Corwin. Pam, how are you today?
I am doing great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. First time that we get to see you on the radio. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
So,
and you get to see me here in my art room, so I'm excited about that.
I like that. And I did ask you to join us and bring some art.
Yes.
I would love to talk about that. Before we get into any of the big events that we have coming up, that's why I've got you on the show, actually. I do want to remind everybody about the South Carolina Wildlife Magazine. I just got mine yesterday, Pam. Is there anything in there? I haven't even opened it up yet. Just got it yesterday when I got home. Anything I should be looking for in there?
I don't think I have anything in there. Sometimes they surprise me and they put my artwork in there. But I don't think anything is in there this coming month.
Okay. Any good articles that you're aware of? Maybe I should dive in on.
I hadn't even looked at it. I've been so busy. I hadn't even looked at it or anything. I do know the new hard card license art will be coming out soon. So pay attention to that, especially if you really like having different art on your hard card.
Yeah, that is a great collectible. Really is. Well, for the magazine, check your mailbox. It might be in there. But let's talk a little bit about some of the events that we have coming up, Pam. Of course, we've got our Saltwater 101 seminars that are really going to be kicking off. Well, it's that time of the year, right? We're at the beginning of the year, and I'm sure that you've got a slate full of events probably scheduled throughout the year, but let's talk about what we have coming up.
So generally in the wintertime, we like to kind of take off and kind of focus on things that we need to revamp or work on. Like right now, I'm still working on our beginner's guide. So I'm still like kind of redoing that, but we like to do more things indoors, especially with the weather. You never know if it's going to be cold or windy. So it's our show season. However, Spring Made Pier has kind of stepped up and they started doing their own little pier clinics. They're small, but they wanted to see how, they would go. So they actually have a couple of clinics scheduled in the month of January, February, and March. So stay tuned for those. But starting out this coming weekend, I know it's short notice. We have the 𝗙𝗺𝘁 Fishing Expo, which is the 18th and 19th.
That's coming up. And at the expo, Pam, I know that you're going to be presenting one of the seminars there yourself, correct?
Yes, on Sunday, we're going to be doing a American Shad fishing seminar, and DNR will have a booth there both days. And we'll, if you have any kind of questions or anything, we'll be there, happy to answer those questions. And we'll have demos and some other, fun projects and activities to do with. And there's other big names that are going to be there, C.A. Richardson and some others are going to be there to give a bunch of other seminars. It's a great event, especially that it's indoors and you're not outdoors in the cold.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, we were talking earlier about specifically about shad fishing.
Yes.
And the access for it. And I think I asked you before, where can we go ahead and enjoy some of these American shad that we have here? Where is a good spot to go? And just like typical fishermen, nobody likes to give up their spots, but I believe you know of some pretty good access points that is readily available for the public to get out and enjoy. So sharing some of that.
So I'll be going over that at the 𝗙𝗺𝘁 Expo. But for those that are interested in, if you wanted to start doing your own research, of course, the Cooper River, everybody talks about the Tailrace Canal. If you have a boat, or if you're brave enough to try a kayak, know that there's always flow. The Tailrace Canal, everybody talks about that. Or there's going out of Arrowhead Landing if you have a boat. Those are both public landings. You can try those, or you can go, there's a public access site. Sometimes it can be tricky after, if there's been a big rain and there's a lot of water in the system, getting to that public access site sometimes it's flooded, so you can't drive through there. So you have to make sure you pay attention to the weather and rain reports. And if you can, it's down from the railroad trestle down. It would be up from Arrowhead Landing. So if you're looking at Google Earth, you'll be able to see where I'm talking about.
Okay.
But that is fishing from land. So you don't need a boat to be able to fish from there.
Absolutely. Okay. Now for the beginner, or maybe somebody that wants to tackle that fish and check it off their bucket list, what would you recommend? What are you going to have tied on number one? Like, I've got this is the bait that I'm going to have the most confidence in. What is it going to be?
So shad aren't going to be hitting live bait. They're going to be hitting what some people call shad darts. They're just generally chartreuse in color, which is like that neon yellow greenish color. Any of those are curly tails. And depending, again, you want to make sure you look at your gauge to see how fast the flow is and how strong the current is, because that determines how fast your lure is going to get down. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom, but you want it to be somewhat into the water column. So you want to make sure you look at that. And I always, it depends on the time of season, but I use a curly tail, and then you toss it and you reel it in. Sometimes you can find them, sometimes you can't, because they're not just stuck in one place. They're always moving.
Sure.
Some people use crappie jigs. They do the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Now,
so anything that's that chartreuse color that's gonna kind of attract them. Sometimes it could be hot pink. Sometimes it's white.
Okay. Now, what I wanted to ask, are they bottom feeders or are they top feeders? In other words, are they going to be looking up when they're eating, or are they generally going to be looking down? Well, I guess if you want it in the middle of the water column, they probably are looking up when they feed.
Well, shad aren't feeding when they're coming in to spawn.
Okay.
There is more of a reaction strike.
Okay.
So they would technically be filter feeding if they were even feeding on their way in to spawn, but they're not really feeding on their way in.
Oh, okay. So then visually for them, again, is it going to be a presentation that we want above them? I would imagine so, right? Or just keep it in their face.
It would be right in their face.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, so I know that, and I'm going to jump around here for a moment, staying in the shad fishing mode here. I know that there's going to be another Veterans Fishing Day that's coming up this year.
Yes.
That is where I had my opportunity to really experience the American shad firsthand in some great numbers and in some great sizes.
Yes.
I presume the fish that I got to see, are they the larger of the species?
Of the shad?
Of the shad?
Well, those are pretty typical of our shad runs. Where you were fishing, it was kind of cheating, but that's typical of our shad in the systems here.
Wow.
The Santee Cooper, especially the Santee system, have one of the strongest populations and one of the strongest runs on the East Coast. So that's pretty typical of what you'll catch if you're in the Santee system, or even in the 𝗙𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 system.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the average size going to be? Do you know what the average size is for the recreational fisherman?
Probably for a female, maybe 2.5 to 3 pounds, maybe. Generally your males are smaller.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
Right.
And now we will say this, you did mention that where we were at was kind of cheating.
Yes.
I'm going to admit that I was there to volunteer and help, right? I was there to bring fish in for the veterans, and I look forward to doing it again this year. And again, that's going to be on March 25th. So we want to go ahead and we'll talk about that date here. But I did get skunked. I did.
I don't know how, because we were trying to help you. So.
I know. It's so embarrassing, but that's okay. March 25th. I've got it marked down. We will end the American shad drought for Captain Bob, hopefully that day.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about that event and how some of our veterans can get involved.
So if you are a veteran, the Army Corps of Engineers, the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, and a few other nonprofits, as well as Santee Cooper and some other partners, put on a Veterans Fishing Day. And the main purpose is to collect samples from shad so that they can age them. And it's also a way for veterans to enjoy fishing. And it's below St. Stephen Dam, which is in St. Stephen. So technically it's a freshwater fishing day, and it's inland. So I know a lot of people are listening, to your radio show and your station from Myrtle Beach or the Myrtle's Inlet area. So how long did it take you to get from your house to St. Stephen?
I want to say it was about 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's a little bit of a drive, but the fishing is really good because it's in a fish sanctuary that's only open that one time of year, and it's for this particular event.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the enjoyable thing about it, is that it's only open one time.
Yes.
And I can say this, if you are in this area, it is worth the drive.
Yes.
It is something to see, not just the fish that were there, but the amount of birds, the bird activity. I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, it's just a Mother Nature at its best, honestly. It is a great event. And once again, it's going to be on the 25th of March. So look forward to being down there again, Pam. Hopefully I'm going to have the invite to come down and help out again. Correct?
Yes. You'll probably you'll see an email from me asking for help for volunteer instructors so that you guys can come out and help again. And it'll probably be the same thing, helping some of the veterans that can't run fish to get weighed and measured. So the same thing that we did last time. And hopefully there'll be more veterans. I know last time we had a rain event, so it was rescheduled. But generally we have about 65 to 80 veterans show up, which is nice.
Yeah. Do you know how many were there this past year?
65.
65. Okay. So that was pretty good. I don't know how many fish that I put in the net over to get measured. But they were catching them.
Yes.
I mean, it was a good event.
It was.
Pam, we've got something coming up. I believe the next event will be this week. And I know that our show actually will be airing. Well, it airs Monday at 10, new episodes, and then, of course, all week long. So you'll be hearing this throughout the week as well. But on Wednesday, we've got our first Saltwater 101 over at Bass Pro. I believe that's going to be the first event kicking off this week, right?
Yes, you have your Saltwater Fishing 101, which is for general saltwater fishing. It's from 6 to 8. Wednesday night. So come on in. Captain Bob here and some of our other amazing certified fishing instructors will be there to help Captain Bob. Anybody that has any kind of questions, just show up. They'll be there to help you. They're not there to sell you anything. They're just there to help you navigate. If as a beginner, especially as a woman, I can understand just the simple thing of walking down the hook aisle and understanding the different sizes and how the different names can mean the same thing, but they're all the different names, like a tournament hook versus a circle hook. Well, they're basically the same thing, but inline versus offset. Like, our instructors are there to help you understand what you need to get started saltwater fishing.
And really, that's one of the nice parts of the events, right? Getting to walk them through and helping them, kind of guide their way through all of that. It's a big maze, and it is very intimidating sometimes. And we don't want anybody to not go out and enjoy what we have out here, as anglers. We want them to enjoy it and not be stressed when they've got to go buy some hooks, for crying out loud, right?
Right. Or maybe they were sold the wrong lure, the wrong equipment, and trying to use it, and they don't understand that they're using the wrong item. Or, that happens a lot too.
Yeah. We see that on the pier quite a bit,
Yes.
with some of the youth rods. And I love the Snoopy rod, but it might not be most appropriate on a pier in situations, right. So that's going to happen, the Saltwater 101 over at Bass Pro Shops. And again, they're able to register for that over at Eventbrite.
Yes.
And I believe it's filling up quick. I did see
it's
almost full. Okay, wonderful. And now after that, I believe that is also coming up this week will be the Pier Fishing Clinic over at Spring-Maid.
Yes, this will be the second one. It's on January 16th. It's from 10 to 1. It is free. All you have to do is register through Eventbrite. It is full right now, but sometimes we have people, kind of cancel. And then when you're on the waiting list, I release those tickets. Okay. You go to the Pier store. That's where they have their little classroom set up. They teach you a little bit about pier fishing, how to, put hooks on your line, how to tie a knot, the same thing that we do. And then they actually take you out onto the pier and you get to fish. As these clinics kind of develop, we have an amazing worker there named Alex, and Miss Rose is the manager. Alex also speaks Spanish. So we're going to be starting to, I'm really excited about this. We're going to be hosting some bilingual clinics so that we can start getting the Spanish speaking community out there, able to enjoy pier fishing. And, everyone should be able to enjoy fishing.
Yeah, 100%. And again, pier fishing is some of the easiest access that we have to saltwater. And when parents come up to me and they say, Cap, we want to get our kid into fishing. How do we start? Should we start with surf fishing? Do we do that? I always recommend heading out to one of the piers. It is so easy. You're able to, everything is there for you. The majority of the piers, well, they're going to have the facilities that you need. They may have a restaurant there. You're able to get some beverages, but you're fishing in comfort, especially with if you've got some youth as well.
Yeah. And they have, everything that you need. So if you have no clue what kind of equipment that you need, they have rods and everything that you need there that you can rent. They have the bait there. They can show you how to put everything on your rod, what to do if you have a bite. And a lot of the local, pier anglers that are there a lot, if you catch something, they're there to help you, especially ID some of these fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what is biting right now at the Spring-Maid? Did Rose kind of?
I know, of course, whiting and weak fish are still biting. I haven't really heard much on the report other than it's cold.
Yeah, right. I can say this, it is cold. It is very cold up here.
Yes. Friday was pretty cold.
Now, let's talk about that. What kind of temperatures did you receive down on the south end of the state there, Miss Pam?
So we got snow and ice, freezing rain and sleet here at my house in Monk's Corner. What? So I was working from home on Friday.
You had snow?
Yes, we had snow, freezing rain, and sleet and ice.
I had no snow. I had no snow up here in the Myrtle Beach area. I'm a little bummed out about that, especially now that I find out south of us we had snow. Oh well, that's okay.
It didn't last very long.
No. That is the nice thing about being here. If we do have snow, it's gone by 10 o'clock, maybe noon. Yeah, right. Pam, let's talk about the next event that we're going to have coming up after the Pier Fishing Clinic. We're going to have a couple of saltwater instructor trainings that are coming up.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit and, give us a little information on what they can expect to do as a saltwater fishing instructor.
Well, obviously, if they want to ask any questions, they can talk to you.
Oh, sure. That's right. They can.
So if anyone is interested in being a certified saltwater fishing instructor, they can take our virtual training class. We have one on January 23rd, and then we have one on February 6th. I'll probably host a little bit more classes as the winter kind of wanes on and spring starts. It's from 6:30 to 8. It necessarily doesn't last that long. It depends on how many people ask questions or if they want to tell me stories, because sometimes we'll have grandparents on and they have their grandkids there and they get on and they want to tell us stories, which is fine. But it's super easy. The only thing we go over is, what we expect in our clinics, how we teach our clinics, how to act as a certified fishing instructor, because you're obviously wearing the DNR logo. We want you to be professional. And then the biggest thing is getting the paperwork back to me for the background check, because we do work with youth, 17 and under. So we have to have a background check. If you are already a freshwater fishing instructor, you don't have to worry about the background check. Or if you are already, a police officer or someone that's already had the background check and I can already have that submitted to me, then we don't have to worry about it. But I have to have some background check to be able to look at it and make sure you're cleared.
Yeah.
Once we get all that information, you get an email from me, and we use Sign Up Genius, and you just register through there. And you can sign up for all of our different events. And this year we have so many events coming up.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because you let out the public information about how many events happened this past year. And if I'm not mistaken, were there something like a 40% increase in events that were offered this year by the state?
Yes, there would have been more.
Just on your side.
Yes, and there would have been more if we hadn't had, inclement weather or hurricanes. We had quite a few canceled because of that. And we get so many requests, and I can't fill those requests, especially with scouts. I would probably spend my whole career just doing scout clinics. So I can't do those, but I'll have a lot of requests, and they'll be on the same day as another event. Like we've had requests for Take a Kid Fishing Day. There's some in Charleston County, but it's also on the same day as a different event that we've already signed up to do. So we're stretched thin, and that's why we rely on certified fishing instructors, because they're kind of the version of us that can't get to some of these tournaments or rodeos, and so they fill in for us.
Now, do you know how many will be on tap for 2025, or what do you have kind of in motion right now?
Big events, we have our Huck Finn tournament that's normally in September, and then I have my big rodeo coming up on May 3rd. We have the Take a Kid Fishing Day. We have 7 peers interested this year.
Nice.
Instead of 6 from last year, we have 7 interested.
Cow. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So who knows who else might join. So we have that, and then we also have the North Charleston Rodeo just got finalized. That's on October 5th, I think. It's the first Saturday in October. And then we have a bunch of fishing clinics down at Hunting Island. We already have those set up and ready to go. I'm really excited about that, because we've really been trying to reach the lower part of the state.
Sure. Yeah.
We're really trying to do more up in your area too.
Yep.
We're
also thankful that actually that we have those events up here in this area, and we're glad that you are kind of bringing more of those to us. I mean, we certainly appreciate that. And the events that we have at Bass Pro Shops are absolutely terrific. I know in the Spring Made Pier, of course, the Cherry Grove Pier, which is where I was at for the Take a Kid Fishing Day. So thank you for that.
We're trying to do more with the piers, where they're kind of doing what Spring Made Pier's doing, where they're having little mini classes, and that would be amazing for us. It'll help us. It'll help the piers. West Marine down in Charleston just reached out literally last week, so we're going to start doing some classes with them.
Terrific. That's great.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests. There's a couple of places in Beaufort that have reached out, and they want to start doing clinics. It's just finding the volunteers if I can't be there, or if my staff can't, because it's just me and Olivia, who we call O2.
Yeah.
It's just me and her right now, so I can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
I know, and that's why you guys are amazing.
I was just going to say, and well, not that I'm amazing, but the guys that you have are amazing, and I get to work with a lot of great anglers and great people that are And also, you know, they do it for the right reasons, right? They really do want to give back and give that help, give that outreach. They want people to enjoy our fisheries, right? And you know who I'm talking about: Brad, Dave, all the other guys.
Yes.
A lot of good people that you have. And congratulations for putting together such a great team. In fact, speaking of 𝗙𝗃, we're going to go ahead and talk about 𝗙𝗃.
Dave
Dave
is
got
amazing.
a fabulous award this year, did he not?
He did.
Yes, yes. He was the, let's see, the favorite instructor of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's everybody's favorite instructor, to be honest with you.
So instead of saying MVP, we call it MVI, which is most valuable instructor, or sometimes we call it staff's choice.
Okay.
And so we couldn't decide between two different people. It was between Dave and it was between Mike. So we decided to split it into the state. So we had like the lower part of the state and the upper part.
Awesome.
And Dave, of course, won the upper part because he does so much for us. And I love everything he does for us. And he's so fun. And he's also into art. So, of course, I love talking to him about fish art and everything.
Right.
But I kind of always want him to adopt me as his daughter.
You might not have to ask hard, right? I'm sure he's listening. You're probably going to get a text after this saying, you're in. I've got a plate at the table.
Yes, he's just so fun and amazing to work with. Like,
I've got to.
He's like the Myrtle Beach. So Olivia and I call our group of instructors, we have the boys. And so he's part of the Myrtle Beach boys. And then we have the lower part. And Michael, he is an engineer. He's retiring, but he's an engineer. And so he comes up with these creative ways on how to deal with things, not necessarily with fishing, but with, you know, building stuff for SCORE, which is our oyster recycling program. Like, he's so smart and he's always just coming up with new ways to figure things out. And I'm like, he makes life easier sometimes. So that's why we chose the upper state and the lower state staff's pick. And Dave, of course, hands down, one of our favorite instructors.
Well, that's nice that you recognize both sides, right? I mean, that's appropriate, especially when you can't choose. But Dave actually, I believe he's going to be at the 101 event at Bass Pro Shops, and usually he will kick it off for us. You know, I'll go ahead and start our introduction, and he just gives a rundown on the Department of Natural Resource. He goes over where you can get your licensing, kind of how much they are, and the benefits of the fabulous lifetime license for our seniors. I mean, how do you not purchase that? That's great. But so it gives them a wonderful opening for the event. So I'm going to see him, I guess, this week.
Yes.
Will you be there by chance? Will I be seeing you this week?
I will not. I will actually be doing something on that same day. I'm trying to remember what it is. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I will not be there. I will be there for the women's one.
Okay, awesome.